Jonathan was not afraid of the dark until he realized that even the darkness itself feared one name: Dracula. When Jonathan entered Transylvania, he felt as if the land itself rejected his arrival. The air was cold, like the breath of something watching him from between the trees. The footsteps behind him stopped whenever he turned, and resumed when he walked on. When he saw the villagers along the road, the fear in their eyes was so real that one of them grabbed his hand and whispered, "If you meet him, never let him look into your eyes." Jonathan did not understand. He did not know that this warning was more important than prayer in that land. Dracula's castle was not a building. It was a massive, broken creature, feeding on the remnants of souls that entered and never left. The gate groaned as if something inside had awoken. The corridors stretched unnaturally long, every step echoing like a whisper. On the first night, Jonathan heard a muffled laugh coming from above. He looked at the ceiling. Nothing. Then he felt someone standing behind him. He turned. No one was there. Yet the heat of that thing's breath lingered in the air. When Dracula appeared, he did not walk like a man. He approached as if the earth itself were slowly drawing him forward. His eyes were fixed, unblinking, like endless pits carved into his face. The Count spoke in a voice that seemed to emerge from a crack in the mountain. "You don't know how long I've waited for you." Then he smiled. That smile alone was enough to freeze Jonathan's pulse. It was not the smile of hospitality, but the smile of one who has found a prey that waited far too long before falling into his hands. On the third night, Jonathan awoke to the sound of footsteps in his room. They were not Dracula's steps, but many, light and rapid, moving around the bed. He could not see their faces, but their fingers stretched toward him from the shadows. Cold, long fingers, as if severed and grotesquely reattached. When he lit a candle, everything vanished. But the traces of tiny scratches on the floor remained, like claw marks that did not belong to any human hand. While searching for an exit, he discovered a room, its door half open, as if waiting for him to enter. Inside, he found tall, coffin-like boxes, and others open, containing torn remnants of fabric, as if those who had lain in them had not left on their feet, but had crawled out. On the wall were deep scratches, human in form, yet unnaturally high, as if someone taller than any man had left them during their final struggle. Before he could step back, he heard a voice behind him, ragged, pained breaths, approaching slowly. Then he saw a hand emerging from one of the boxes. A human hand, yet moving unnaturally, as if the bones inside were not in their proper place. Jonathan fled before seeing the owner of the hand, but he heard its final words. "Do not leave me here. Do not leave me with him." When the Count arrived in London, he did not act like a criminal, but like a plague. He visited houses without leaving a trace. People fell into sudden weakness. Victims did not die immediately, they began to change. Lucy was the first to feel it. She awoke at night to the sound of something scratching her window, despite its height. When she approached, she saw a shadow taller than any human, stretching, shrinking, then vanishing. One night, she awoke to find the imprint of a hand on her neck. The fingers were thinner than any human hand, as if something else had left them. When Jonathan, Van Helsing, and a group of hunters returned to the castle, the sky rained black ash, as if the earth itself were bleeding. Entering the great hall, Dracula appeared, suspended in the air. His eyes glowed like embers inside a skull. He spoke in a deep, stone-shaking voice. "You come seeking your salvation? You are far too late." Then he descended upon them with terrifying speed, a single movement, as if the darkness itself had surged forward. The confrontation began. It was not a battle of man against man, but against something that possessed the power of the entire night. The Count moved so swiftly that the air seemed to scream. Every attempt to strike him failed. He vanished into the shadows and reappeared behind them, until Jonathan finally plunged a weapon, dipped in an ancient pool, into his chest. The Count paused, not in pain, but in shock. A light seeped from his wound. Not a light, but burning darkness. The Count screamed, a sound not of this world. Then the castle collapsed around him, as if it had lived and died with him. When they emerged from the ruins at dawn, they felt relief. But Mina suddenly stopped, placed her hand on her neck, and whispered, Did you hear that?" No one heard anything, but she did. That distant whisper, the voice that promised them it would endure. "I do not die."